Hello, students. You are welcome back to the Model on Curriculum Studies in Physics. And we are still on Unit 4. And as we all know, in Unit 4, we are looking at the principles of selection and organization of physics curriculum experiences. And in session 3 of this unit, we will be looking at learnability and adaptability of selected learning experiences in physics. My name is Patrick Ej. Now, by the end of this session, you should be able to explain what is meant by learnable content or activity and explain how learning experiences are adapted to learners' experiences. Now, let's look at learnability of selected learning experiences. And we're saying that the physics curriculum content should be learnable. And when we say it should be learnable, what do we mean by saying the content should be learnable? What do we mean? So to say learnable, then we mean to say that the content should be understandable by the learners. It means when the learners learn the content, they should be able to make meaning out of the content presented in the physics syllabus. And how can they do this? It means that the various behaviors, the various expected outcomes that students are supposed to demonstrate after they have gone through the physics learning experiences should be within their capabilities. So once the desired behaviors from the learning experiences are within the capabilities of the learner, then we will say that the content in the physics curriculum is learnable. Now, in other words, the learner must be capable of exhibiting the desired behavior. So it means that when objectives are being stated and after students going through the set of instructions, the set of learning experiences, and at the end of the day, they are unable to show or exhibit the desired behaviors, then we can say that the content was not learnable. That is, the content was not in their capabilities, and so they found it difficult to make meaning out of the content that was presented in the curriculum. And so the learning experience that you as a teacher select must be appropriate to the learner's readiness to learn. And when we say that the content must be appropriate to their readiness to learn, then we mean that it must be able to meet their present level of intellectual development as well as their prior knowledge. And so once the learning experiences are appropriate to them, in that at their level they are able to take in whatever content is given to them. At their level they are able to link whatever content is given them or provided for them to their prior knowledge or their prior experiences, then at this stage the learners can make meaning out of the content that has been presented in the physics curriculum. Now, let's look at adaptability of the content. And as we all know, one of the sources of selecting the physics content is from the physics textbooks. And we all know that most of these books are not written in our country. Some are written in different countries, and we all know that from the author's perspectives, their sociocultural backgrounds are likely to influence the kind of learning experiences they provide. So, for instance, an author can cite a teaching learning experience, or let's say an author may say that in this learning experience, students should go on a field trip to a museum. Probably there is a museum which is very close in the author's socio-cultural environment. But when it comes to our case, you realize that it is difficult to even identify a museum in your locality. And so you realize that once you also present this learning experience, it will be difficult for learners to understand what you mean by museum it will be difficult for students to even have access to these museums in order to even know what is there. And so, in instances, when we are adapting, so adapting means you taking part of whatever is in the physics textbook and making sure that it is in line in your own environment. You don't take everything hook, line, and sinker. You take the various components that can fit your situation. Then you present those learning experiences to the learners. So, for instance, illustrations of concepts or principles that we use should take into account the learner's environment. And in taking account, so for example, you as a physics teacher, you may want to teach the principle of movement. You can use the seesaw to represent or to teach students the movement. You can take students, so you can just take students to any primary school where there is a seesaw, or probably students have even have an encounter with this seesaw before. And so once you draw this on the board and you're able to illustrate the principle of movement using this, this is more, the students normally see these things and the things become real to them rather than using some concepts that they may find difficult to even identify in their own environment. Now, students, in this session, we saw that selected learning experiences must be learnable. And for learning experience to be learnable, then we are saying that they must be able to meet the capability level of the learner. Learners should be able to understand and they should be able to make meaning out of the content that they go through. And also, we must adapt the learning experience to suit the learner's everyday experiences in the environment. As we bring this session to an end, let us take this question and think about it. How can selected learning experience be adapted to suit the learner's experience? So let's think through, let's think about this question. Let's get answer or answers to this question, and we'll present our answers in the subsequent session. Thank you for joining today's session. I hope you enjoyed this session, and thank you once again for your time. Bye.